Hey guys, welcome back to another video. A little technique one today on how I create my tree stump bark effect. First I'm just dampening the top of the cake, laying over some light brown sugar paste, and then taking my Dresden tool and starting to mark in circular lines. You can either work from the centre outwards or from the outside in, whichever you prefer. Once those are on, I'm cutting off the overhang with my scalpel, just holding it as close to the edge of the cake as possible. And then dampening the outside and laying over some white sugar paste. I haven't covered this all in one piece because I want to keep my paste nice and thick. This is what's going to hold all your texture, so you don't want to roll it too thin. Once I got to the required thickness of this piece, this is just how big it was, so I popped it straight on the cake. It doesn't really matter if you have seams because it's all going to be covered with all our texture. You can either cover it all in one piece or 4 different pieces, it doesn't really matter. When cutting off the excess that sticks above the cake, you want to leave a good centimetre or so. And then just taking any excess from the bottom and going in with a smoother. We're not really smoothing it out, we're just more making sure that that sugar paste is stuck to the ganache. Now I'm going to show you a few different ways. This is a tree bark mat. As you can see, it's very highly detailed and it's got some really deep lines in. You can either choose to make the impression before adding the paste on the cake, or push your mat into the cake like I'm doing here. I'm just running my fingers, applying quite a bit of pressure to push all that texture into the paste. You can even use a smoother to help keep the pressure a bit more uniformed. As you can see, it does get pretty good results and most people will be happy with this. But more is more when it comes to texture for me. Don't forget to texture the very top of the bark too. It doesn't just stop at a nice clean edge. You want to get your Dresden tool in there, following the lines of the pattern and creating a nice rustic effect. Another way, and a cheap way to add texture, is my trusty texturing tool, which is just a crumpled ball of foil. I'm then just using this like a little roller, applying pressure, and you'll see it's adding even more texture to what we already have. If you're interested, I always have a list of things I use in the description box below, even down to my turntable, which isn't even a cake turntable. And so many of you have these now, so if you're interested, that's below. Then, because I still don't have enough texture for what I'm aiming for, I'm taking my Dresden tool and really pushing in dark, deep crevices and lines. This is why you need thick sugar paste to start with. It needs to be able to withstand some really hard pushing and the Dresden tool going nice and deep. These lines, paired with the texture made from the tinfoil, adds a lot of visual interest. To make this pop even more now, we're going to paint it. I've got a big fluffy paintbrush and some brown airbrush colour. I've also added a little bit of water too. You want to give the whole trunk a wash of this and don't forget the tops and the insides too. Now this is all one colour and we want a bit of variation, so I'm taking some off with a kitchen towel, just dabbing, leaving some lighter areas behind. And then going back in with my brush with different colours, such as black or a slightly different shade of brown. I've then watered down that paint quite a bit and I'm just brushing the colour into those top lines we made, allowing those to stand out too. Any airbrush colour and paint will seep into the lines or texture you've added to accentuate them. And that's it, a very gnarly tree bark with lots of texture going on. I went really dark for this one, but you can use any sort of shade you like. You can even add some green for moss. And a good thing to do is next time you're out on your local walk, snap a few pictures of some cool trees you come across. This will be great to use as reference. Here is the finished cake. You'll see we have a silver birch effect on the top 2 tiers, which I already have a tutorial for and I'll leave it linked below. And then here is our tree trunk. This is what it looks like once the paint has dried and we've added some mushrooms and moss to it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if it came in handy for you because I always do love to see them over on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.